everyone, welcome back. I'm Jenna and this is Learn Academic English, where I teach intermediate and advanced level lessons for English learners who want to take their language to the next level. One of the most important parts of learning English or any language is developing your vocabulary. I'm sure you know how important vocabulary is. And today I'm going to talk about two common, important words that are often confused: sympathy and empathy. And in the lesson, I'll explain what each of them means and how to use them, and then you will be able to see the difference between these two words. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you to please give this video a like if you find it helpful, leave a comment and practice with me below, and subscribe if you want more lessons like this one. And be sure to check the description box below where you can get a link to my email list to be the first to know about my upcoming online classes, and a link to my Instagram subscribers community where English learners can actually practice with me one-on-one every week. So first, let's talk about the word sympathy. What does sympathy mean? Well, sympathy has two main meanings. And one thing you want to know about sympathy is that it has a score of 4 out of 5 as far as frequency goes. What does that mean? That means that it's a very common word. So when I looked this word up in one of the online ESL dictionaries, they have stars depending on how common the word is. And this word scored 4 out of 5 stars. So that means that it is a very common word. Okay, sympathy. Sympathy is the feeling of being sorry for someone.
I did have sympathy for you.
Usually this is because of a bad situation. So you see someone who's in a bad situation and you feel sorry. For example, you can say, I have sympathy for her. She had to raise 4 children on her own. That was a difficult situation and I feel sorry for her. I know it wasn't easy. We also can say our sympathies are with the families. So this would be after a tragedy, maybe after a plane crash and many people died. You could say our sympathies are with the families. We feel sorry for them right now. Now notice that sympathy can be non-count, so that would be singular with no article, or it can be count. And this one is usually more in the formal situation, especially if it's coming from more than one person. Our sympathies.
And they have our deepest sympathies.
The collocation for this noun is to use for and then usually a person. For example, I have sympathy for her. Here's another example. I have no sympathy for people who cheat on tests. Okay, moving on to number 2, the feeling of support for an idea or a plan. Now, this is usually used in political situations. For example, he expressed sympathy with the striking workers. So this means that he supports them, or he has a feeling of solidarity with the striking workers.
You have sympathies with them?
Her sympathy lies with the Communist Party. So that doesn't mean she feels sorry for them. That means that she feels support or a sense of solidarity, that they have the same beliefs. Notice that for this meaning of sympathy, we can use with or for after it. Now let's look at the word family. The word family is sympathy for the noun, sympathize for the verb, and sympathetic for the adjective. We also have the adverb sympathetically, but we don't use that word very often. To help you learn how to use this word, let's see a bunch more examples with different situations. For example, we can say to have or feel sympathy for someone. It's hard not to feel sympathy for the losing team. To express your sympathy. Everyone expressed their sympathy after her husband's death.
I wanted to express my sympathies.
To get sympathy from someone. I thought at least I'd get some sympathy from you. To deserve sympathy. He doesn't deserve any sympathy. It's his own fault.
While you may not think that you deserve their sympathies.
How about adjectives? We often use the word deep or deepest sympathy. For example, when someone is upset after a person's death, we can say, we would like to offer our deepest sympathy to Ilda and her family.
My deepest sympathies.
Or we can use the adjective great. I have great sympathy for people affected by the housing crisis. Okay, phrases that we often use. A message of sympathy or a letter of sympathy. We are grateful for all of the messages of sympathy that we have received. You have my sympathy. This is used to say that you feel sorry for someone. It must be difficult. You have my sympathy. That does sound a little formal, but you can hear it. Now that we understand sympathy, let's take a look at the word empathy. Empathy is also a noun, and this one is less common. It's not as frequently used as sympathy.
I have empathy.
Let's look at the meaning. Empathy means the ability to understand other people's feelings or to share a person's feelings as if they were your own. So sympathy means that you feel sorry for someone because they're in a bad situation. Empathy is different. Empathy means that you're feeling those emotions yourself, that you have the ability to share the same feelings that someone else has. Maybe they're not exactly the same, but it's a higher level of feeling than sympathy. Sympathy, you feel sorry for someone. Empathy, you're actually sharing some of those emotions with that other person. You know, maybe if you see that a person is in a bad situation, but you actually feel difficulty, you would say that you are experiencing empathy. Okay, let's take a look at a couple examples. And notice that with empathy, we use empathy with someone, whereas with sympathy, we often use sympathy for. As an immigrant, I have empathy with refugees arriving recently. So because I am in a similar situation, I am experiencing some of those same feelings, that this goes beyond sympathy. Next, she had great empathy with the people. We might say this about a leader or a queen, that she was able to understand the feelings of the people.
Treat everyone with empathy.
Here are a couple more examples. It's difficult for teenagers to feel empathy because they are usually quite self-centered. Or, a good author has the ability to make you feel great empathy with their characters. His followers found him easy to talk to, attentive, and empathetic. Okay, now here empathetic is the adjective.
She's a very empathetic person.
And how about the word family? Empathy is the noun, empathize is the verb, and empathetic is the adjective, an empathetic person. To empathize with someone.
I empathize, clearly.
And to feel empathy. As I mentioned before, sympathy is more common, and that's partly because there are just more situations in which you will feel sympathy. You can feel sympathy for many people, right? When you see someone who's in a bad situation, you can feel sympathy for them. Empathy is a little bit stronger and a little different because in this situation, you actually are having a deep understanding of their feelings. And this is often used to talk about relationships, like if you want to be a good partner, you need to have empathy for that person.
I have empathy.
Have some empathy.
Or that as children grow up, they learn how to empathize. So this is more about relationships or a person who feels emotions or feelings on a deeper level. So I hope this little lesson helped you to understand the difference between sympathy and empathy. As always, I'll leave a question in the description box below, and you can use that question to practice with me in the comments. Let me know if you have questions. I hope to see you back here soon. Take care.